Morgan, thanks for being with us today.
Of course, happy to be here.
It's so nice to talk to you. Of course, it's Women's History Month, so we're celebrating our women in sports, and we're so glad we get to talk to you, one of Portland's stars. I want to ask you, though, in recent years, we're seeing a global shift of women's sports finally getting the attention that I think it has so long deserved. What has it felt like to be part of this?
I mean, it's been amazing. I think it's kind of crazy to think about when I was a little kid, like maybe one day I'll be a professional soccer player, because it wasn't obviously that big. And now to see the game has completely changed, and going back home and seeing little girls that are like, look up to me, I think is super fun and exciting, because we're all from the same hometown. And so I think it's pretty exciting. Like, I just love it. And I'm so happy to be here and involved.
When you were growing up as a young female athlete, did you feel discouraged to pursue this professionally because maybe women's sports wasn't as big?
No, I mean, yes and no, I would say. I think there were times where like, can I actually do this as a career? I knew, people don't make a lot of money. When they first joined, it was, I think someone was telling me they made $6,000 their first year and had to have another job. I mean, that's not livable. Like, you can't live like that. And so I was like, is that possible for me? And now just seeing where this league has come and is going is something super exciting. And I think I don't really care about now, it's also the future. Like, obviously you care about now, but what about the future when those little girls that are looking up to us want to play this sport? I want them to be able to live off just playing a sport. They don't have, like the men, they don't have to have other jobs, second jobs or anything like that. So I think it's super exciting, and hopefully one day it goes even beyond this.
If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you tell her?
That you did it. I think it's just, that was like the biggest thing, is you've made it, but you got to keep going. As a little kid, I think, soccer it was always my number one sport. I think school was hard for me growing up. I always had challenges. But just knowing that I made it here, graduating college, graduating everything that I needed to pursue, and then being a professional athlete is just something that's so awesome to me.
What do you mean you had troubles in school?
I've actually never really talked about this, but growing up, school is really hard. I have dyslexia and I also have ADHD, so focusing and just getting really confused on letters, numbers. It was a struggle and so hard, but I had a few teachers that really believed in me. My parents believed in me like crazy. My mom was like making sure I was always getting extra help. If I needed a tutor, we were always trying something. And I remember one teacher I had, her name was Mrs. Clark. I still sometimes will reach out to her today, and she is amazing. And she was one of the teachers that basically is the reason I always say she's the reason I made it to college. I graduated college because of things she had taught me. And so that's what I want to continue to do. I don't want to just do soccer all the time. I also want to help those kids that, need help. It's something that I know a lot of teachers try to do, but it's not enough said, that there's things that kids they don't understand, and it's hard for them to learn in different ways. But because of her, I was able to figure out how to make a flashcard in different ways where it didn't have to be just school related, it could be outside of school, and it made me remember things so easily. And so that's what I want to do.
I love that. What a great story.
Yeah.
Mrs. Clark sounds amazing.
She's the best.
Cool. As you know, you're a role model to a lot of girls and young women. What do you want them to know about becoming a female athlete or just becoming successful?
Yeah, I think there's always challenges, of course. You're a woman in sports. People are always going to say, oh, you got to get in the kitchen, you got to do these things. There's always going to be the comments, but also just don't look at it. Like, that's my biggest thing, is I try not to read comments online. I try to stay off of Twitter, Instagram, like about comments, or even if I see something on my own Instagram, I just delete it, because there's no point of dreading on it, or like, I can't believe they said that. Like, there's like a second you're like, wow, someone's really saying that? That's crazy. And then it's like, who cares anymore? Like, I don't know them, they don't know me. I think that was like my biggest take, is when coming into the league, is I don't need to listen to these people that I don't know. I need to listen to myself, my coaches, my teammates, and what I need to do better and perform. And I think that's like the biggest takeaway for me.
Such great advice. It goes into the next question I was going to ask you. I've spoken with other female leaders about imposter syndrome, and I want to know if that's something you've ever dealt with.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think, you're a professional athlete. Of course you're going to be like, oh, I wish I could do this better. Oh, I wish I could do that. Oh, but they're being able to do it. I can do that though. I think it's just always remembering, like, be yourself. You can never be somebody else. And I think I really took that into account last year when I first had my injury. I'm myself. I can't be anyone else. It's going to take me some time. And, you know, being able to sit out this year sucks, of course, and having another injury, but it's really making me think about my life and who I can be and my story of, wow, she had 2 little setbacks. One, now this setback, you know, right now is huge for me personally, but how can I make it into a positive? And so I'm just trying to stick onto the positives and not be on the negative part of it.
Have you seen a shift in culture, and do you think the league is doing enough to protect players now?
You know, I think there's always been learning curves. I think things that had happened in the past should never happen, of course. I think we're definitely learning, and that's all we can do right now, I think, is learning. Like, what can we do better? I think this league has taken a lot of steps to get better. I mean, background checks are huge. We have 2, 3, 4 background checks people have to go through. There's sexual harassment classes, videos that we have to do safe sport. We have to do all these things to be able, 1, to be a player in this league, and 2, to be a staff member in this league. I think things are in the right direction for sure. I mean, we have HR, we have anti-harassment policies, we have all these policies now, which I think they were not there before. Okay. And I think things are in the right direction.
You were relatively new when all of that happened, so have you felt a culture change since then?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's just a lot. I just was in the kind of the background, I would say. I didn't really know what was happening or what was going on. I think it was kind of shocking to me. I was so shocked about everything because I just was like, whoa. I was not ready for that, I guess. And it's horrible what had happened, but without those leaders, we wouldn't be where we are now, and they really did change this league for us.
And when you say leaders, do you mean the players who spoke out?
Yeah, the players that had spoken out. I mean, it happened here at Providence, you know, and not at Providence Park, but for the Thorns, and I think the Thorns have done a great job now of what we can do better.
So let's talk about this season. The Thorns kick off their season this weekend. What is the sentiment going into this season?
Yeah, I think, you know, just to be the best we can be. I think there's a lot of change, of course, that we were talking about earlier, but I don't think any of the outside noise matters. Like, who cares? Who cares that certain players aren't playing? I really believe in this team, and I think they're going to perform as the best they can, and that's all we're asking is, who's going to step up? I think that's the big question. And I think there's a lot of them that are ready to step up and that are going to step up.
And how is your knee doing? How is all the rehab going?
Yeah, I mean, we're on the right step in the right direction. Okay. Yeah, I think there's going to be some, of course, you know, with the knee, it's just so interesting. There's hiccups in the road. I think haven't hit that yet, so hopefully going to continue on the right path.
Well, last season you were out for a few months after you had surgery, and your first game back, all the fans were chanting your name. It was a really big moment. What did that feel like for you?
It was really special. I think it made me feel like I really belong here. I think there's times, you know, as a player, you think to yourself, do I really belong in this place? You know, obviously we talked about like not listening to the outside noise, but being injured, there's always times, you know, oh, I'll like read something and it's like, oh, they don't really need her, or fans like saying certain things. So then you kind of get down on yourself a little bit. And I think I got into that hole a little bit of like, oh, do I really actually belong here? Because some people are not very nice. But having that moment, I felt like this is where I belong. And that's also why I've re-signed my contract to stay, because this feels home. And I still want to continue, and I want to win more championships.
Well, and the city loves you. I know whenever you hit the pitch again, you'll get those chants again, for sure. You're very, very loved here. And speaking of Portland fans, we've had a lot of great things happening in Portland for women's sports. The WNBA is coming to the city. We have the Sports Bra, which is the first bar that shows, you know, just women's sports on TV. What's it been like to be part of that here?
Something that's amazing. I mean, the WNBA coming here, I think, is super cool. I mean, I think it's also kind of exciting that we get to share a training facility with them. I know a lot of people have like a little questions about it, like why, what does that mean? Like, are the Thorns actually happy about it? For me, I'm actually really excited. I would say I'm excited because I get to meet people that are just as big as the Thorns here that are another women's sport.
Well, people have talked about how Portland is becoming an epicenter for women's sports. Do you feel that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely do. I mean, look at the stadium. There's, what, 25,000 fans that can get to the stadium. I think every game we have at least 18 to 25. Something that's not really said around this league, you know? So it's something super special, and I think they show up no matter what. And I think that's exciting, and we couldn't thank them enough.
So looking ahead, what would you want to happen, or what do you hope will happen for women's sports going forward?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think for me personally, obviously pay is always a thing. I think it's also hard because, you know, sometimes we don't get a lot of viewers, and I think women's sports are definitely on the up where there are more viewers, and that's the exciting part. So hopefully with more viewers, we'll be able to get paid more, just bring in more revenue. I think that's something that's always can be worked on, and I think we can get more fans. I don't think it's just watching the sport, it's also community driven. I think us as Thorns players are starting to try to get more involved in the community compared to last year, and I think that's something cool because how many other professional leagues, sports are their team actually getting out and doing a lot with their community? And so I'm really challenging us as players to be able to do that more. And so hopefully that will happen this year. Even with the WNBA team, I think we want to do things together where holding clothing drives, doing things like that before games, just anything like that, I think will be huge.
I love that. What a great way, just like sisterhood, right?
Yeah.
Partnering up, that's so great. Well, thank you so much
Of
for talking
course,
to us
thank you.
sharing all your stories. It was so wonderful to learn more about you.
Thank you so much.